jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out that more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-Side official, you already know. The first in the building, WCS on deck. You already know what it is. Let me get straight down to it. A lot of people are talking about the man himself, Canelo Alvarez. Big news revealed tomorrow. I kind of get a hint of what it will be. But first I want to talk about my concerns when it comes to the sport of boxing. I always come over here and try and attempt to deliver you the hot grease. But this is not so much a hot grease moment, but a search and rescue moment. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, I've been scratching my head trying to figure out where's Errol Spence Jr. The fighter that was currently the unified welterweight champion. He now sits at 28 victories, 1 defeat. The 1 defeat has been displayed and basically plastered, over the social media platforms forever and a day. I think tomorrow Canelo's decision will also be influenced by July 29, 2023, the historic T-Mobile massacre. You can best believe Canelo's decision will absolutely reflect what we've seen go down in the T-Mobile massacre. Absolutely. Promise you that. Okay? Promise you that. Trying to give you a little nugget. You know what happened last year, July 29th, from what you're seeing on the screen, will absolutely influence the decision tomorrow. Now, whether you like it or not, I'm not sure if I care. Believe it, I'm not sure if I care or not. But when the big news is revealed, that's when I would care. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be something else for me to come on here and put out content. But the good deal about it is that Canelo is finally coming forward and giving you what you've been waiting on. You know what I'm saying? He's finally going to give you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? For those of you that's been waiting and waiting and waiting, he's going to give you what you've been waiting on. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, you will understand how important this live is. Let me get back to the thumbnail. Errol Spence Jr., him not being victorious last year is absolutely the reason why 2024 is turning out the way it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what it would have been if he would have been victorious last year. Oh my, oh my, oh my. If he only would have had a game plan to supersede that of the mastermind. Oh my, oh my, oh my. How they wish that fight was just another time. I understand. I truly, truly do. That people are still feeling some type of way about that. But now, we've been waiting and waiting to see what's about to happen with Canelo Alvarez. And supposedly the big announcement is going to go down tomorrow. Will one of your favorite fighters be on the opposite side of the announcement? Seriously, will it be a fighter that you was hoping to step in the ring? Because there's not too many of you all caring about who Canelo is fighting next. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was hyping about Hammy McGill until he looked the way he did against John Ryder. You know what I'm saying? people have all but given up on David Benavidez. Canelo, he haven't showed signs of wanting to face David Benavidez. And then when it comes to Crawford, Crawford's name is still out there, statute, awaiting for the light to shine down on him once again. In the meanwhile, the bigger question is, when is Errol Spence going to return to the spotlight and answer the tough questions? Is Errol Spence retired or not? I'm asking that question at 22:40 p.m. military time, July 12th. Is he retired? Is he going to come back to the ring this year? How's his eye doing? You know what I'm saying? Should we expect the news tomorrow to be a direct result of what he didn't get accomplished last year inside the T-Mobile Arena? You will be surprised. You know what I'm saying? In the meanwhile, what I want you to do is just pay attention. I want you all to please let me know if you see a sighting of Errol Spence Jr. because I don't know if he's coming back to the ring this year. From what I'm being told, I don't know if he's coming back to the ring this year. I'm not saying he's not, but I just don't know if he's coming back to the ring. And also, y'all have to factor in the beating that he took and the way he looked. He has to get approved by commissions. You understand? They have to approve him. He has issues going on that has to get him approved that he may not be able to get that check in the box in Texas. It's only so many regions that's going to get him the money he want that he's able to fight in. That's why they go over to Vegas, because they say Vegas, a little bit more lenient on getting things approved. So with the cataract surgery he was alleged to have, and the basic residual effect of the damage inflicted by Terence Crawford, he may be on his way to retirement, man. I know he put it out there in a tweet that, we can shut the retirement stuff up and all that. But at the end of the day, you move up to 154. They're expecting you to fight somebody that's relevant. You said you don't take tune-ups. I'm wondering how is it going to be coming off that fight with Crawford. And it'll probably be a year and a half before you step back in the ring, if that is indeed the miracle. I think Errol Spence is retired. It'd be good for him to retire for 2 years and get himself together and see if he want to return back to the ring. Because he said he don't take tune-ups, which is dangerous right now. If he don't take tune-ups and he comes back at 154 and fights somebody besides Danny Garcia that's not going to get the orders and move around the ring, I mean, that's going to be an interesting moment. Because, now, he has the car accident, right? Then he had problems making 147-pound limit, so they say. Then he was beat up, right? Then he went in there and got beat up and giving us the impression that he knew that he had cataracts 3 years and prior to stepping in there with Terence Crawford. So, we don't know how much more damage he did himself because he went in there supposedly with a pre-existing condition. Now you have to look at somebody who's staked his claim sort of like bragging rights that he don't take tune-up. So who will he fight at 154 upon his return if it's not going to be a tune-up? They got some tough fighters up there, some tough fighters with some names at 154. And I'm curious to know, how people react to the news tomorrow from Canelo, and then also how Errol Spence is going to basically handle being out of the ring for another hiatus. You know what I'm saying? I'm just curious to know how his body is going to respond to that. Because I think the more he stays out of the ring, of course, the worse it is, because he really want to retire, but he don't want to retire and come back, later on when he has to go through drastic measures to get back in shape for 160, 168 pounds. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he may still be, in his early 30s, but you have to look at it like this. Cutting weight is mental. You know what I'm saying? Cutting weight has a huge deal with being mental. I had to do it. It's a huge mental obstacle that you have to overcome. And when you have other ailments that's basically limiting your motivation, then you might have problems dropping that weight. That's my biggest concern with Spence. I haven't seen him. It's pretty much it just looks like he's MIA. He didn't want to attend the Charlo fight because he didn't want to answer questions. He hasn't really been seen to answer questions about that ill-fated night in July 2023. I get it, man. He don't want to. He don't want to face the music. I get it. I get it. Errol Spence, if you out there listening to me, I ask that hit me in the DMs if you want to talk about it. I think I can give you a free consultation, no, free of charge, and just kind of go over the time that you stepped out of the ring, what you've been going through in between time, what's been on your mind. Have you been able to get your head clear enough to return back to the ring full time? What are your goals coming up? As far as the remainder of the time that if you have in the sport, or the remainder of time until you retire, are you going to have a ceremony? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be in Texas? Are you going to throw a parade, a going away parade? I need to know these things. If you can let me know, please. You know what I'm saying? I really want to be there if you're retiring to show support. If you decide to come back to the ring, definitely I want to ask, who would you potentially want to fight since you say you take no tune-ups? Who would you want to fight? You know what I'm saying? Kind of throw some names out there, 3 opponents that you have consideration in fighting. And at what weight class are you feel comfortable returning? Is it going to be 54 or 60? You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, people used to brag about you weighing 185 to 90 pounds. At this point in time, you can make 160 easily. That's less weight you have to cut, especially if you're going through, other residual situations that's preventing you from cutting weight. I mean, just think about it. Jose Benavidez, who they say that has one leg, he was out the sport for a minute after Crawford fight, came back, fought at 60, and then, worked his way down to fight at 154 again. So you have those options too. But right now, I did what I had to do. I showed you support. I put you back on the milk carton. I hope everything is going well. We're still waiting for an announcement to happen to see, what's going on your side of the street. From the driverless cars, around that area to take you from point A to point B. Just stay away from that. We don't need any more car crashes. Any to drive with a human in there, and to drive you from point A to B. You know what I'm saying? That's if you plan on coming back to the ring. If you plan on retiring, you do what you want. I'll suggest you walk if it's in walking distance. Ride a horse in that joint. A horse might be even safer. For real. But just let me know if it is indeed true, my thought process of that you plan on retiring, okay? Just let us know what's going on and everything like that so I can let my listeners know. In the meanwhile, one of the guys who's responsible for, Errol Spence contemplating retirement is Bud Crawford. And yes, I know this is the edited picture, but it looks good. This is T.O. and what he was wearing the other day when he post fight with Jermaine Ortiz. And that's pretty much what scenario will look like if Terence was basically walking up on him to say, "What's that shit you was talking?" You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of look T.O. would have had on his face to my you're everywhere, man. Nah, I didn't mean anything by it, man. It's just business. I didn't mean anything by it, man. You don't have to look so mean, man. Come on, man. You know I'm T.O., man. Come on, man. You heard me say I'm the biggest clown in boxing. Come on, man. It's just fun. It's games. You know what I'm saying? But that's what would have been. Crawford would have been looking at him like, dude. And T.O. would have been looking off to the side of Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Hey, don't take it so serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't take it so serious. And then the people that's on the outside looking, they would have been laughing at T.O. like, yeah, talk that shit now. You know what I'm saying? Omaha's in the building. Omaha's in the building now. You know, talk that trash you was talking about, you know, me having soft opponents and they was all handicapped. And the only reason I'm the way I am because soft opponents made me look like I'm hard and all that and like I'm doing something special. You know, not that I actually went in there and beat my competition. You know what I'm saying? I went in there and dominated. And to hear you sit up here and say, you know, all Crawford fighters soft opponents, tell me that to my face. You feel me? This pretty much what it would have looked like, y'all. If you're talking about a steel frame. You know what I'm saying? T.O. would have been explaining. Crawford would have went up there and had that blank stare. You know, I don't put too much emphasis in what Crawford's looking at this picture because his chin is not tucked. His chin is up. He's in a non-hostile stance. If by chance his chin would have been tucked and you could see the white of his eyes, then concern may have set in already for T.O. You know what I'm saying? Concern may have set in already. But, you know, they have pretty decent space in between them. You know what I'm saying? There's people smiling. T.O.'s trying to explain what he meant and in the process apologizing. I'm serious. That's what I get from this frame. You know what I'm saying? T.O. was apologizing to Crawford. And Crawford was just standing there looking at him like, I can't believe you said that all my opponents were soft and handicapped. Like I haven't did anything in my career. You know what I'm saying? Like you saying I'm not the best. You know? So that's why I had to pull up. I had to let you know I'm able to navigate these streets, man. You know what I'm saying? Without a GPS. That's why I'm here. I'm asking you questions. Terence had put out an old tweet, right? He said, how many of y'all favorite fighters had a close fight or a fight they didn't dominate or lost? There's not one fighter I fought professionally that can say I didn't dominate them. I never liked to talk because I did my talking in the ring. But I'm really him. Better ask somebody. And look, he made a very great point in this tweet. And for those of you that know the tweet I'm talking about, you might want to save it for a brighter day. Because simply, you know, this is a legend who's going to the Hall of Fame. And this is one of his better tweets. I'm not going to lie. This is one of his better tweets. Because he said, I did my talking in the ring. And that's where Errol Spence, you know what I'm saying, absence come into play. They say the man was top-ranked Toby. He was going to break him like Kunta. You know, just sign it, learn how to be the challenger, shut up. You know what I'm saying, sit down. You know what I'm saying, take less money. You know, all the stuff people were saying about, you know, nobody on his resume prepares him for the Errol Spence heat that he's going to get in the ring. I mean, it was just so much. It was so much. It's just so much, man, that you had to think to yourself, like, they believed it. You know, they believed that Crawford was nothing more than a fighter who would build up a resume and pretty much hasn't proved himself at all. And pretty much the championships that he got was against mediocre, subpar, underwhelming fighters. They was all wrong. Seriously, they was all wrong. Shout out to Big Bunch of Boxing to go in the building. What's good with it? Dan on deck. Salute to y'all, man. They was all wrong. You know what I'm saying? That man changed boxing. Who has changed the sport the way he did? Who has pretty much been on the radar, but was treated like he hasn't accomplished anything? You know what I'm saying? That's tough to do. That's tough to basically not be pretending. You know what I'm saying? To be going in there to your full-time job, performing at the highest level, but yet the fans are looking at you like, no, that shit ain't real. He been doing, man. He ain't fought nobody. He ain't did nothing special. To be honest, Spencer's gonna railroad this dude. Who have you seen be on the radar like this? But yet they're overlooked. Who has had that? Who has been so dominant on the radar? But yet people was overlooking him, saying nothing. It's nothing special. He can't do it. He won't do it. Spence is too big for him, man. Too powerful. Too strong. Dude's light in the ass. Let me go back in the archives 8 years ago. Gamboa hurt him. You know, I mean, if you listen to the way they think, you're saying to yourself, unbelievable. This is unbelievable. How boxing fans consider themselves to be pretty much attached to the sport. Let's give them a little bit more credit than they deserve. These boxing fans consider themselves not to be casuals, y'all. They consider themselves to be pretty much a diehard type of fan. Take a of this era in the 2022 and 2023, when everybody thought they was a freaking full-time, you know what I'm saying, a full-time unemployed freaking life coach. You know what I'm saying? A freaking unlicensed psychologist. Everybody knew everything about everything. You know what I'm saying? Looking at a fighter, giving their assessment and all that. But they got it wrong with Bud Crawford. That's why he left a for everlasting impact on the boxing community. That's why Canelo's news tomorrow is gonna be as a result of this. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a result of what Crawford did, the damage that he inflicted, and basically him shocking the boxing community, not just going in there beating Errol Spence, but the way he beat him. The way he beat that guy. This is one of the most epic defeats. I remember certain content creators was criticizing Roy Jones Jr. on what he said about Spence. Roy Jones said he don't know because Spence haven't fought nobody that he can consider to kind of gauge, you know what I'm saying, his status. And you know, people took that as if Roy was hating on Errol Spence. But if you look back on it, he was absolutely spot on. Center mass. Center mass, man. He said he had to see him fight somebody to know what he was about. So he went in there and he fought Spence. He said, now I get a gauge of what Errol Spence is about. You know? Now I got a gauge of who he's about. These YTC cats was all rooting and raving about Errol Spence, that they started to hate on the legend, yo. These cats started to hate on the legend. They hate on a legend. That is how effed up the boxing community is right now. That's why Errol Spence is finding out and getting worse treatment than Roy Jones got. Because Roy Jones is a legend no matter how you look at it. He's etched in that history, no matter what you say about it. EJ, he's not etched in anything except Vegas. That would be forever etched in people's thought process, you know, on what happened on that ill-fated night, and also the ones who was hating on him, who decided to show up and waste their money to see the massacre go down in person. If there's one line of criticism that I give Crawford in all of this, you know what I'm saying? I would say he did everything he was supposed to do to prepare himself for the fight. But there was one line of criticism I give to Crawford, that he shouldn't have beat that boy up that bad. He look. He should have went in there and not fought overtime. You know what I'm saying? Because the longer that fight went on, the worse it looked. He should have just got him up out of there in the second, third round. For real. I would have rather Crawford. You know, I've been going back and forth with my thought. And I'll say, you know what? I would have wished that he didn't let the fight go on. Because obviously he carried him to the eighth, through the eighth, and stopped him in the ninth. He could have stopped him way early in that. I just wish he would have stand by the mantra that we don't get paid overtime and got Spence up out of there and gone about his business. Because we wouldn't have had these freaking pictures out here of these different frames showing Crawford hitting him with the hook and hitting him with the jab, hitting him with the uppercut. It's too much for some of these Spence fans. They would hate on a legend for giving you an accurate assessment of Spence. And also, when asked who he thought would win between Crawford and Spence, he said Crawford, and people got mad and started hating on him. Now, can we count how many of Spence fans have turned their back on him? You have individuals that was just so pro Spence, but now all they talk about is Crawford still. They don't have shit to talk about. See, I can come on here and talk about certain things that actually matter about it. But they'll come up here and talk about old, stale, insipid news that no one's really paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll talk about July 29th, about the impact that it had. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk about it in glory. And how bright the victory will always shine when it comes to Crawford's name going in there and shocking the world. How good his team looked. How well he listened and went out there and executed instructions. Whereas you look on the other side of the pillar, you see a team that really had poor leadership from the top down. You know how they say in the military. Leadership goes from the top down. It was poor leadership over there in that corner. Brian Bomack pretty much put it out there that, hey, there's no more hiding from you. Watch us. We'll show you how it's done. Watch us. Now it gets to a point where Spence is about to retire. Canelo's about to put out some information as a result of Crawford's, demolishing Errol Spence last year. And people are going to feel some type of way about this news. Seriously. They're going to feel some type of way about it, bro. They're definitely going to feel some type of way. Crawford may, they may put out a freaking, what they call that group? Not a militia. Not a militia. But they might send some freaking protesters. You know what I'm saying? They might get together and try to implement martial law. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is a topic that can never get old. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you hear me talk about it every day. But I'm just saying, this is a topic that can never get old, man. Because history is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When Crawford sent this out and said, I done heard it all now, Errol Spence is okay, though, because all in all, I'm glad it's over and done with. I wish you well. It was his way of saying, you know what? I did play with my food on purpose. Because I wanted to make sure that everybody that was up here talking that ish about me, they have plenty of rounds to look at how well, how easy I went in there and beat you. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad they have 9 rounds to look at this fight. Because each round, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, man. I would have rather, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of boxing, how it's struggling right now, Crawford pretty much forced the entire network to divorce. You know, he forced an entire network to sever their matrimony, to divorce their promotion, and gone back to their regular scheduled program. One person. It was a lot of people that was riding for Errol Spence to get this done. One fighter changed. You know how much it takes to basically manipulate the magnitude? Like, this is incredible. He changed a whole lot of things. This is why, Crawford's the reason why 2024 is just in shambles right now. Because, Showtime leaving is just crazy because they, at least they gave them a budget. You know what I'm saying? But now he just shook up a supposedly primary player, you know what I'm saying, in TGB. He shook it up. And, it's been half-stepping its way into 2024. And people are asking, when is he going to start to, pick up the pace a little bit and see some good fights? We hearing rumor that the money isn't there. You know what I'm saying? Canelo's high demand to face certain fighters. They just don't have the funding for it. And unfortunately for them, Canelo doesn't take Groupons. They don't take freaking IOUs. You know what I'm saying? He don't do that. He don't take vouchers. He don't take slips with credit on it. Yeah, we'll give you credit. Yeah. 35 million worth. So you say I don't get no guarantee money. No, not right now. We good for you. You got the credit slip right there. It's no signature on here. We'll get to that later. Just go. We'll talk to you, okay? Okay? We good? All right, cool. I mean, he changed it. Crawford changed all that shit, bro. Let me see who in the chat. Andrew Charles, what's good? He said after the fight, Bud said he was practicing the jab that destroyed Spence. He was practicing that while Spence was going around saying Bud ain't fought nobody. And DJ was talking about cheeseburgers. Solid point, man. It's just so many. Look, it's so many ways, like you just mentioned, that I try to tell them to stop speaking on it, because I look at combat sports different. Like, seeing different combatants in other countries and their whole mentality with the killer instinct, how Thailand have kids starting off at a younger age, and they really go through I'm talking about a physical process, man, that would be considered abuse over here in the States. Like, they start early, man, and that shit just wouldn't be going on over here in the U.S. It'd be lawsuits and everything else. But, I seen how these foreign countries be doing their martial arts, and, the behavior is different. Over here you see boxers working out now, and they busy worried about their mobile phones. Over there, if you in a martial art, you're not on no phones over there. You're not on no freaking phones, man. You're working. You know what I'm saying? Some of them don't even allow you to bring your phones into the school. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the task. I try to tell these people to chill, because the way I look at combat, like, it don't necessarily have to be with size. I remember that one of the criticisms they was giving Bud, that he was extremely small, comparable to Spence. I remember certain people just laughing it off when they finally faced off in Beverly Hills, how small Crawford looked. But, I was on here doing a live, and I said, I don't know who I'm dealing with right now. Because you have to understand, they have to make weight. They have to drop down 147 pounds. Why are you gloating on the fact of someone's size weeks out from the fight? Are y'all not understanding that Spence has to lose weight? Crawford has to lose weight? And also the way they was up here just pretending like the man didn't do anything in his career. acting like they didn't see anything special about him. The fact that his coach felt the exact same way on which the naysayers was out there talking trash, he was talking trash too, along with Spence believing in his own hype. So much to the fact that he felt that him beating Yordenis Ugas and swelling up his eye, he felt to basically mock Yordenis Ugas and get a mouthpiece with an eye on it. He believed, that means he believed it. He believed that the way he beat up Ugas, Crawford would suffer the same punishment. Somehow, some way, I looked back at it and said, these cats was way off. Like something was mentally off with this fan base. I say they're one of the worst fan bases ever in boxing because they claim to be boxing fans, but yet how can you overlook how dangerous a fighter was based off whatever bias that was clouding your memory and your eyesight? Maybe all them niggas had cataracts. Maybe it was contagious, bro. You know, when they were supporting him so heavy, they started to get cloudy vision too. Maybe they all had cataracts. Maybe it's a new form of cataracts. But how can you call yourself a diehard boxing fan? And I can see you supporting Spence based off what he's been able to accomplish with the 3 titles. I get it. But that doesn't mean you have to say, okay, when it comes to Crawford, he hasn't did nothing. Nothing. He hasn't fought one single opponent that as a boxing fan, as they was calling themselves diehard boxing fans, they looking at it like he hasn't done nothing that I can praise him for. Every name that you mentioned that was somebody, whether they was a Olympian pedigree or they had an O on their record or they was a champion. What I heard from them Errol Spence fans was the fact that they discarded all that. The fact that they kept on bringing up Gamboa used to have me puzzled, bro. I said, they call themselves boxing fans, but they keep on bringing up somebody that he fought 8+ years ago. Something is mentally wrong now. Like, what are we dealing with? Is there a airborne plague going on just in their community? Are they brainwashed? Are they so much, drunken with hope and uncertainty that anxiety is taking over these cats? The worst fan base ever in boxing. In the new era, the worst, the absolute complete worst. The reason why I say that about them is that they claim to be boxing fans, but when they cracked their lips open, they overlooked a fighter and didn't give him no hope of being dangerous. I mean, not no hope of being dangerous. They gave him no sign. They saw no sign of him being dangerous. How his fighting style could affect Errol Spence. They just basically shut him down and say, he ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody, man. Nobody, man. Spence can beat everybody on this record, man. So with that said, that is true, right? That is true, right? That is true, right? So you agree with me. Spence can beat everybody on Crawford's resume. So what that tell you? If Spence can beat everybody on Crawford's resume and Crawford ain't fought nobody that Spence fought on his resume that's considered more top tier quality opposition, well, it don't take much to figure this out, that Spence is going to beat Crawford. So you basing that off his cover. He ain't fought nobody. Nobody on Bud Crawford's resume can beat Spence. But Bud Crawford beat all his opponents. He's undefeated. But none of them are up to the quality of Errol Spence. That's what they were saying. From Kell Brook, you know what I'm saying? Mikey Garcia. They was just putting it out there. Look what he did to Danny Garcia. Look what he did to Ugas. Look, I mean, they was absolutely zoned out, bro. They was zoned out. They was somewhat in a zombie state because you couldn't get them to understand that this is combat sports. And one of the primary factors that they should be paying attention to is how Errol Spence lives his life outside the ring. First and foremost, that's going to always be a factor in how he trains. They didn't want to listen, bro. They didn't want to listen to that shit. They didn't want to hear nothing. And now we about to get the news tomorrow. Whatever the news is, we got to get the news tomorrow, bro. You know what I'm saying? People are so uninformed about this in 2024. They have no idea what's about to be said tomorrow. Like they don't even, people are not even really talking about it like that. It's unbelievable how they can get mad at me as if they are related to Spence, though. They'll get mad at me saying they the worst fan base, but I don't even know who his fan base is. I'm just going off hearing certain individuals comment, all these individuals comment prior to the fight, how they basically just overlooked every positive, any pluses that Crawford may have had, any type of areas of danger, beware, cautious, that he may present once he step in the ring July 29th. It wasn't present, y'all. It wasn't present then. They was just like, whatever. I know certain people hate for me to come over here and talk about this fight, but it's public record. It's on BoxRec. You know what I'm saying? It's on BoxRec. I told you all, genuinely, I said I just can't wait. I hope this fight happens real soon at the top of 2024. I say because I didn't want them to heal up too much. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want that scar tissue to start to heal. I want the scab to still be on there. That's what I wanted. I wanted to get back in the ring at 154 and get another freaking dosage. You know what I'm saying? Another freaking dosage. This would be a higher percentage. So they can be reminded, it didn't matter if it was at 47, 54, or 60. He's just a much better fighter than Spence. Why? Because one primary factor they overlooked is how he handled himself and how he lived a fighter's lifestyle. I try to tell him his fighter's lifestyle was way different. I remember sitting there in the presser, and I remember, you know, them laughing at a lot of stuff that was being said by Diddy James and Spence. I just took a look around the auditorium, and them people who just was there laughing at everything. You know, any little thing Spence would say, they would just laugh. You know what I'm saying? And Spence knew I was in the building. Spence knew I was in the building. I got a picture of him looking directly at my lens. He knew I was in the building. He thought I was gonna come over there and ask him a question. But I just soaked in the moment because them fans of his and some of them media personnel that was going for Spence. I just say to myself, do Crawford look that harmless? Do he look that weak? I mean, I don't know what it was, bro. I try to brainstorm a little bit, do some troubleshoot. Evidence the that harmless? Did he look like he was unqualified to be in the ring? Did he give off the perception? Because it wasn't like you couldn't find a video out there with him on YouTube, but he had fights out there. And you know, when you hear these people just say things like, "Oh, that wasn't nobody," but he stopped him though. Oh man, who cares if he stopped him? He wasn't nobody. Don't nobody know him. What about so-and-so? Don't nobody know him? Man, please. Do they know Amir Khan? Oh, man, he didn't have no chin, man. How many people knocked out Amir Khan that we know of prior to Crawford going in there? Please, he gets no credit for that. What about all the undefeated fights that he had? You know, like his championship fight just to become a welterweight. Oh, man, who knows Jeff Horn already? Who did he fight? Did nobody know him? And that was unique part of the Crawford persona, is that he was up here achieving things He was achieving victory in the ring that people potentially thought he couldn't do, he couldn't accomplish. And the way he did it, it kind of left people thinking like, well, he did it well, but that fighter he was in there with wasn't nobody special. He wasn't nobody special. Who cares he beat Pacquiao? It wasn't nobody special. They was dogging out Pacquiao for basically being robbed in Australia. But the same, they was acting like he was old and all that, and that's the reason why Jeff Horn beat him. And then he comes back and beat Keith Thurman. But the real fact of the matter is that he stopped Jeff Horn. You know what I'm saying? And Jeff Horn was a big-ass Aussie. He was a big-ass welterweight, bro. And he stopped him. He showed he can use lateral movement. He just wasn't standing there trying to bang it out. You know what I'm saying? Just the crazy shit they said. Crawford starts slow. Crawford starts slow. He starts slow. Yeah, he starts slow. If he starts slow against Spence, it's over. It's over. If he starts slow against Spence, it's over. I mean, it's just too much memories to go along with this epic fight. Glad I was alive to witness it. Real talk. I'm glad I was alive to witness this. Even though it didn't turn into a rivalry, like a trilogy, it was even more dynamic than that because they really never threw a punch. And it was so much hype behind them fighting. They didn't even throw a punch, and it was people on here losing relationships. You know what I'm saying? Losing money, losing their freaking sanity, dog. It was people investing hours talking about this fight. Talking and 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 talking. And then finally the press conference, the fight is announced. I remember the first time that Crawford did an IG live, right? He did an IG live, and they said he was reading from freaking paper. And they was trying to say he was illiterate. They was trying to insinuate like the man was illiterate or something. And he had to read off, something that somebody wrote to him. Let's just say he was reading off someone. What does that have to do with how his hands read his opponent? They always focus on the wrong thing, bro. I think it was his skin tone. I think we have a lot of freaking, reverse internal racism within our own people, that they sometimes discriminate against darker complexion blacks. Yeah, I'm being honest. Maybe it was his skin complexion that made them feel that, no, he'll never be popular in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? They kind of treated Deontay Wilder the same way. He'll never be popular in my eyes. We like Spence more than him. He's more popular. He's more culture orientated. You feel me? He's more cultural. He's more in tune with the new culture. So we're going to support him. And look, when I say he had the worst fan base, I mean that with every bit of the breath that I speak on this mic. Because these are individuals who basically accepted him going out there, putting his life on the line. Not in the ring, but out of the ring. Living out of pocket, as he brag about. Putting himself in jeopardizing situation that could have put him in a wheelchair like some other boxers or ended his life. It could have been that. They embraced it. They didn't, if you brought that shit up, man, they act like, oh, you was basically making up some false allegations about him. That's why I say the fighter's lifestyle is where Crawford always had the edge. Spence, he lost it. People know he was out there fucking up. They knew he was out there getting intoxicated. But when he had the accident, then people want to look at it like, oh, I'm going to overlook that. It's weird. It's weird how people want to embrace guys who have taken L's, who've been incarcerated. I'm not frowning upon that. You take a nigga like me, I was freaking incarcerated serving my country too. I was locked down for 20 years. I was under a structured environment. I had to follow orders. I had to go through a system where a misdemeanor out in town as a civilian can be life changing and career ending internal to the military. But you see people treat you different. They say he was in the military. Oh man, he was square. He went to work for the white man. And they've been out here in society working for the white man forever and a day. But back to the case though. They embraced him living out of pocket. And they didn't want to talk about it. They knew it was affecting him. They knew it was affecting him. When WCS said when he leave Texas and he ain't on that Texas T no more, it's a wrap. When he beat Danny Garcia, yeah, he in Texas, no doubt. He gonna make weight, no problem. Yadina Sugas, you know how shredded he was? I say, yeah. Sip on that Texas tea, it'll get you right. But when he came out that motherfucker, what happened? He was running up that freaking hill trying to lose weight because you know what it is. They left one heat wave, went to another heat wave, and they want to run up a hill. The dumbest thing ever. And you got to think to yourself, is WCS really being insensitive about saying they had the worst fan base ever? Because if the coach is up here having this fighter run up a hill like that, close to fight week, you can damage the fighter's legs and all that. I'm not saying that's what happened to Spence. You know, Crawford beat him fair and in the square. If they never want to admit that, he beat him fair and in the square. He beat him from rope to rope, pillar to post. So however y'all want to remember that moment, I can guarantee you it won't be like mine. It won't be like mine. I've never witnessed a fighter in an undisputed fight beat up his opponent and goddamn be talking trash and having a sidebar conversation with another undisputed champion. I never witnessed it until July 29th. He literally beat up two champions in the same night. Both of these fights was undisputed. Crazy. What happened to Jamel Charlo after that? Them belts fell off him like loose change with a hole in his pocket. Gone. Lost the WBO when he stepped in the goddamn ring to fight that Canelo. And then all the rest of them just came off like it was easy, bro. He beat up two people. Jamel said, I don't want that smoke. Let me vacate this IBF. Let me get off that WBC too. And I'm just waiting for him to come off the WBA, you know, for them to give me a little bit of time to come off this WBA. He got off them titles, shawty. All history will remember is the beat down. What's going on, Sir Foul Player on deck? What's good? What's good? And you say Bud threw Spence off of him in second round, damn near crossed the ring. That was a revealing moment, a reality check. Then he dropped him. True words, man. He pushed him back so easily. I remember that moment too, man. You know what I'm saying? I was actually chewing on a freaking jumbo shrimp there, Andrew, and that shit was good too. God damn. And I stopped chewing. I said, did I just see what I thought I saw? He just nudged him off like he was a little baby calf. Get out of here. Full-grown bison. Just goddamn. I just saw a video today where, once again, these people go in these freaking rides and go in these national parks where they see these big bison and stuff walking. So this lady, her child, he had to be probably like 7 or 8. He had his entire upper torso hanging out the window. So this big bison was walking. And then the kid was up there moving his hands to get his attention. And the bison just casually walked over there and hit the kid with his horn. I mean, the kid, look, the Bison cannot tell the difference, just like Spence fans couldn't tell the difference that beatdown was pending. He hit that kid so freaking hard. I mean, the people that was recording was behind them. He hit that kid with that horn. It almost like he didn't exert hardly any energy, bro. That's how it was when Bud shoved off Spence. It was like a bison just shoving a freaking calf, a newly born calf. Get your ass over there. Hurry up and learn how to walk. You're going to have to survive out here. You better be lucky we on a reservation too, or national park or whatever. I'm telling you, man, they overlooked it. What's going on? Lee on deck, salute to you. I never understood how anybody with eyes could question Crawford's ability. Yeah, you got to understand it, because this day and time, the fan base, man, fan base is seriously different. They're a different breed, man. It's a lot of things that you would consider natural that's unnatural. Just the fact, like you said, they denounce his boxing ability to the lowest denominator. For real. Every time you brought up any one of his opponents in the welterweight division, they denounced it. No value. Trashed it. Julius Ndongo, 140 pounds. Fought for undisputed. They say he wasn't nothing, even though he was undefeated. He was the man. You know what I'm saying? Both of them, the man, freaking met the man. And they established who was the top dog. He was undefeated. They didn't give him no freaking credit for beating Julius Ndongo. And I interviewed Julius Ndongo, man. You know, good guy. You know what I'm saying? Real good guy. But, you know what I'm saying? You just look at this and say, these boxing fans are way off, man. These guys are way off, because they pretty much tried to erase any credibility Crawford's resume had. And then when the actual reality hit them, it's going to stick with them for a lifetime, bro. It's going to stick with them for a lifetime, because they call themselves boxing fans, but really they was just participants. They was just there just to be a part of something. They was just participants, that's all. They couldn't have called themselves boxing fans, bro. Because you would have looked at the art of combat differently. You would have seen that both fighters presented, areas of concern. You know what I'm saying? Strength and weaknesses on both sides was there. The pluses and minuses. People was basically praising Errol Spence's jab, which he had a very, very solid, strong, pressing jab. And then he had that pressure for you. He put you in the pressure cooker, and he comes forward and keep on landing shots. You have to deal with it. It wasn't like it was unbearable, but the opponents up to this point, you know what I'm saying? He was able to continue to keep his unblemished record until he met a fighter who was living the fighter's lifestyle and had a team who actually looked at film, and they too was on the highest level. They was living a team lifestyle. They came off to me as a type of team that wouldn't even freaking allow certain things to happen like that. I know they can't sit up there and stop every fighter from doing something, but I'm pretty sure they understood what type of fighter they had in Crawford, being that he was a non-smoker and drinker. That's tough to do. That's tough to be around people who smoking and drinking, and you ain't getting fucked up with them. It's tough to do for some people, but they knew that already, and that was one of the many highlights on the advantage that Crawford had living the fighter's lifestyle that his fans overlooked. His fans wouldn't even say too much about it, like it was gonna go away. They knew this nigga was out here fucking up. They knew it, bro. They knew he was out here fucking up, and they didn't care. But they'll go up here and get mad at their kids if their kids got that call. They gave them that call. Hey, Can you help me? I got a DUI. Oh, can you help me? You know, I can't make it home. I'm too drunk. They'll be up here scolding the shit out their kid. I'm not gonna put up with this. I'm not gonna support you. I'm gonna disown you. But they'll get online and argue for hours. Protecting Spence. They wanted to be friends. They wanted to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to go against the grain with what they knew that was going on out there. They didn't want to be outcasted, treated as a pariah, ostracized in the boxing community. They didn't want that shit. They wanted to be friends. They wanted to be in the community, get along community. You know what I'm saying? The friendship community. You know what I'm saying? The sheep herd community. They didn't want to check that man and hold him accountable for what he was doing. They was just hoping that he had enough left in him to go in there and beat Crawford. And Crawford wouldn't allow none of that junk to happen, bro. Vicious. It don't matter what's good. What's good? I see you. But good point, Andrew. Jay on deck. What's good with it? Bud beating down Spence. Bud beating down Spence was a once in a boxing lifetime experience. I'm glad I got to witness a performance like that too. Yeah, I was glad, man, with all the talk, with all the preamble that was out there, everybody singing their own little chorus. Everybody got their own little hook. You know, they was coming up with all these nicknames for Bud. You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen in the ring and based off his, previous fights. Yeah, everybody had their own little, gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had with Spence. People they said it was what it was, man. People talk, they talk. But only one half was able to walk that walk. And we all know that was Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you say, you know what I'm saying? People still feeling some type of way about the talk. It's just banter at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's just banter. It's down in history. There's nothing none of you can do about it. And Crawford had such an effect on people that they can't let it go. I mean, what more do you have to say about a fighter? If you're still talking about negative stuff that you believe that happened last year and you won't let it go, you're no different than a crackhead. You're no different than a crackhead. Because a crackhead will do something and they don't think it's bad. That's just the way they feeling inside. You know what I'm saying? They got habits that they used to, influenced by crack, of course. But when you get somebody out here that's continue to talk about some stuff that's already passed, it's over. It's recorded. And you continue to treat it like it's fresh. You continue to repeat the same behavior. No, you're acting just like them, bro. You might as well pick up the pipe. I need for y'all to go out there and find out where your man's at. At least y'all can do that. Y'all failed him as a freaking community. You know what I'm saying? Y'all Spence fans failed him tremendously. Terribly. Atrociously. You know what I'm saying? You failed that man. At least you can go out there and find him and try to get an interview. None of y'all can't get no interview. Y'all can't have a one-on-one AO. Come on. Y'all did 1-2 podcasts, bro. Come on. What about AO on the rocks? AO on the rocks? Come on. At least you come out there and do an interview with him. Because I feel like pre-fight, that was supposed to be the interview of all interviews where he was just pouring his heart out. And his fans was up there melting. We get to see him talk. And that's gone. That's gone. And the only other time you saw them two together, when it came to social media, is that he had his IG on and didn't even know it. So now I'm like, post-fight, why don't somebody encourage? I know some of y'all know her. I mean, reach out to her and say, hey, can you have Spence on your podcast one more time so we can see, what his thoughts is about the T-Mobile massacre, and, how is he coming with the eye surgery, and what is his plans, man? What is his plans? What he seem like is in his near future in boxing, or do he know that WCS said he's retired? You know what I'm saying? He's about to enjoy that retired life, and then he's probably he might return back to the ring when he's like 36, 37 years old for a fight at middleweight. You know what I'm saying? At that time, middleweight should be covered in tumbleweeds. You know what I'm saying? The middleweight division should be covered in tumbleweeds, man. For real. You're not gonna be able to see even the parking. You know how you got them white lines and where the parking spaces at? You won't even be able to see that when he returned back to the middleweight division. That's how vacant that shit gonna be. For real. The middleweight division don't have nothing going on. That's the perfect division for him to return back and try to get a title. Become a 2-division champion. I wouldn't, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't if I was had to get him any of. I wouldn't move up to 54 right now. If I was him, I'd just move to 60. Just move to 60, man. Real talk, just move to 60. It's really not too much going on up there at all. You can just scoop up a title and, stay there for a minute, man. Do not go to 154, bro. Seriously. Do not go to 154, man. I don't think you really want to cut that weight either. I think it'll behoove you to just stop at 160 and start campaigning up there for a little bit. Pick up a title, have some fights or whatever when you return back from your retirement. All right? But good point there, Andrew. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth. What's good? What's good? What's good? Appreciate you pulling up, man. But that's where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? I can't say enough about it. Once again, if you seen that guy right there, please call the number on the milk carton, and you know what I'm saying? Let the appropriate people know, if he tells you what's his plans. You know what I'm saying? What's his plans? Because as history know it, those two right there changed boxing. You know what I'm saying? They changed boxing in this era. You know what I'm saying? They shut down a whole freaking community of boxing fans. They basically, something that has never been done on the YTC. They forced people to shut down their channels and leave reporting on the sport of boxing. All from one freaking fight, y'all. All from one fight. And like I said before, make sure you go find this tweet and save it in your archives. Save it in your archives. Because this is the night that he went out there and did what he's supposed to do. Whether you like it or not, Crawford beat him so bad, it turned into the patch season, from strap season to patch season. I'm just going to go through this and bring you to this moment right here that says everything. Come on, man. It says everything. That's Spence sitting down, knowing that him living out of pocket has caught up with him. That's him thinking about all his fans that betrayed him and allowed him to go out here and do what he was doing. That's what that's for. Look at him. Bruised, battered, beaten. All because he's took his profession lightly. Come on, man. And look, why is your coach yelling at you from the side like that? It's no reason. Spence already know what he needs to do. But he's incapable of doing it because of what he's done to his body prior to stepping through that ropes. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't lived a fighter's lifestyle. So that will always, imagine if Spence would have lived a fighter's lifestyle, right? He was a non-smoker, a drinker. Then that fight, in my opinion, would have been a lot more competitive. Seriously. If he would have been that way when he went in there and fought Porter, he would have won way easily. But he said he made it hard on himself because he ballooned up in weight. What if he was living the fighter's lifestyle? All comfortable things, you know what I'm saying, must come to a part in the road. You know what I'm saying? A fork in the road. And that's where his fork was right there. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave that up there. And it ain't for the people that's in the chat. It's for the replay. You know what I'm saying? Those of you that want to hit the replay, that's Errol Spence fans. Because it's because of you that he was up there having a moment. I know you think that I'm rubbing it in. And if you think that, you're absolutely correct. I consider this a form of freaking visual ayahuasca. You stare at that picture long enough, then it'll start to register to you. Things you could have did better when you were supporting your champ. He had 3 belts, and y'all was up here just praising that man for being out of pocket, for drinking, and doing whatever he was doing. Y'all just praising him. Y'all didn't want to freaking hold him accountable for nothing, bro. But yet, the fighter who was living the fighter's lifestyle, you ridiculed him anytime you got. You denigrated him in every freaking topic of the conversation to say he ain't fought nobody. He hasn't did anything worthy of being mentioned. He ain't a Hall of Famer. He ain't nobody special. His resume suck. His skills ain't all that. He's a slow starter. Switch hitting don't do anything for him. He just do it because. You know what I'm saying? He's small. The list goes on, but that small dude did that. Okay, I got it. Man, y'all hold it down. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. And y'all we'll talk tomorrow after that announcement now. We'll talk tomorrow after that announcement. Until next time, shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game. A-Side Official. You already